Hello and welcome to Decoding Helixx. My name is Sabin, and I just wanted to welcome you and thank you very much for joining me on my first podcast. I just wanted to take a little bit of time right now and give you a rundown of what this podcast is going to be about. So I just wanted to introduce myself a little bit to you, let you know a little of who I am, why I decided to get into business, and lastly, I just wanted to leave you with a piece of advice that was given to me a few years ago that has really helped me to understand things in a totally different light. So stick around. I hope that's going to be helpful. Now, also at the end of this podcast, if you would be so kind, I would ask that you just give me some feedback on what you think the show was like, if it was helpful, if some of this information was useful to you. And also, if you could leave a rating, that would be fantastic. I would really appreciate that. So without further ado, let's get stuck into it. Alright, so as I mentioned before, my name is Sabin. I'm the owner of Helixx Media Management, which is basically a social media agency that looks after all major platforms for small to medium businesses. So we do stuff like we create content, we take pictures of our clients' products, and we go back to our office, spiffy them up and basically put them on social media on their behalf, so they don't have to touch their social media and spend a lot more time on things that are more important to them and their business. So that is pretty much the driving idea behind Helixx, and the name actually came from, if you know what a helix looks like, it's two strands of DNA that are basically joined together. And the idea for that was, we work together with our clients to actually deliver what their vision is for their company online on social media. So that's what I guess separates us from other companies that'll just take your stuff and do what they think is best to get you the most followers and the most whatever. We're actually more driven by the need that our clients have to generate more customers. So we tend to focus more on that rather than just getting you followers and trying to tell you that you're happy that you have more followers, even though none of these people are buying from you. But look, all that aside, I don't want to make the show into a giant ad about who we are or what Helixx Media Management is all about. If you guys are really interested, I would recommend that you go and check us out on Facebook, get in contact with us, or get in contact with me even if you want, and we can definitely let you fill you in on some of the details about the company. But what I really want to do is kind of introduce myself right now to you, let you know a little bit about who I am, what some of the things that I'm into, and then we can pretty much move on from there and get into how I got to where I am right now. And as I said, towards the end of it, I really do want to leave you with a piece of advice that I hope is going to help you as much as it has helped me. So I want to go back to the year 2005, actually the years 2005 to 2009. That's when I was working for a manufacturing company. And that's where I actually learned, on top of a lot of really cool stuff, one of my first hardest lessons, and something really more about myself. And that was that I absolutely hated the 9-to-5 grind. I couldn't do it to myself anymore. And that's where I learned that I just couldn't stand it. It really kind of bothered me quite a lot. If you guys have ever watched the movie Steve Jobs with Ashton Kutcher, I know that it was panned by a whole ton of people, but there's one part in it where basically Steve tells his then employer, I think he was working at Atari at that time, where he basically said something like, you know what, I can't work with people. I'm not sure who he actually said that to, but I think it was his employer. It could have been Woz. I'm really unclear on that because it's been a while since I've seen it. All that to say that, basically I hated what that job was doing to me. I had to wake up really early in the morning, drive about an hour, and, then get told what to do the entire day by people who really had no people skills. But that's beside the point. Anyway, fast forward a few years from there, I ended up, 2009, I ended up actually quitting that job. There were a number of reasons behind that. And I guess one of them was because I was kind of young and I really didn't know how to deal with that kind of situation. I do now, but that's not going to help me back then. So the only thing that I can do is make sure that I don't make the same mistakes and that I don't allow myself to be treated the same way again. So I guess that's something that you guys can take away from it as well. It's absolutely up to you. But in my opinion, I don't believe that you should let anybody treat you like dirt, no matter what the circumstance is. You are a human being, and you need to stand up for yourself when you need to, and you need to be treated as, an equal. I mean, someone's paying you for your time and your skills. So at the end of the day, they have no real leg to stand on if they're going to pretty much, get in your face about anything. Now, also, your attitude of the job does depend a lot on how you will be treated. So, all that to say that if your boss thinks you're doing a bad job and so does the guy standing next to you that does a very similar job, then chances are you need to take a step back and kind of take stock of, is it really me? But that's kind of up to you. Only you'd be able to answer that question. All right, so from there, I pretty much moved a couple of jobs. I ended up in middle management. That was a terrible decision. That was just, it wasn't one of my brightest moments. Middle management, I don't want to harp on too much about it, but it is a terrible place to be. So if you have a choice, don't put yourself into it. Stay away from it. Do anything except for putting yourself in the middle of people that both don't like you. So what I mean by that is you've got, the people that work underneath you that think all the terrible decisions that are made around that place are your idea because you're the guy that has to deliver that to everyone that works beneath you, and all the guys above you are all worried about how their quarterly financials are looking, or how the month is coming along, and numbers and all that kind of stuff. And they don't like it when there's extra costs, when there's extra labor that goes into whatever job needs to be done. So basically, you're gonna get dumped on by both sides. Generally, don't do it if you can. I'm not saying that there aren't people that are, not good at doing that job. I'm sure that there are some serious superstars out there that know how to do that job and handle themselves very well under that kind of pressure. But it really didn't work out too well for me. I didn't like who I was becoming, so I had to pretty much move on, which I did. Now, let's move on a few years and let's go into pretty much that piece of advice that I promised you at the beginning of this whole thing. I was actually sitting in this office with a department head, and he was kind enough to give me an interview for a sales position. Now, I know how to talk. I guess I know how to talk my way in and out of situations, but that's not what sales is actually about. I thought it was what it was about. It wasn't. But that's beside the point. So I'm sitting in front of this guy, and he is very switched on. He's a very smart guy. Clearly years of experience under his belt and all that kind of stuff, which is, it's good to surround yourself with smart people, people that will actually push you, but not just push you for the sake of pushing you, but push you in the right direction. Some people can actually see your potential before you do, and they will pretty much nudge you in the direction that they think you should go, but it's up to you to recognize what they're doing. And sometimes that's difficult to do, but whatever you do, don't get too frustrated. Just remember, you're in an environment where people need to always move forward. So try and remember that if you can. And then also always ask for advice. Don't be afraid to ask questions. I do believe there are stupid questions, depending on what the situation is. So if you've heard that saying, there's no such thing as a stupid question, maybe there is. But I'm pretty sure you're going to know what to ask and what not to ask, especially if you're one of those people who thrives on learning new things and learning it to better yourself. So I'm pretty sure if you can understand that, you're a smart enough person to understand what questions you shouldn't or shouldn't ask, especially, of people that are very much higher than you in whatever company you're working in. But anyway, this what I really want to say was what this guy was actually trying to tell me. So here I am sitting in front of this guy, and he throughout our interview, he asked me this question. He asks, "Look, do you have any formal training? Did you go to college?" And I proceeded to tell him, "No, I didn't go to college. My parents didn't want me to accumulate a massive debt and have to pay that off for years and years and years. So what they ended up doing is pretty much stopping me from going to college." And this guy just like right then, he was like, "Look, I'm going to have to stop you right there. I want you to stop playing the victim card. Don't tell me that it was somebody else's choice that you ended up where you are now. Don't tell me that you couldn't have done something to pretty much, like, if you really wanted to go to college, you could have gone to college." He told me that, he went to college and that he worked all the way through college so that he could put himself through school. And I thought that was really cool. But, at the same time, I kind of got a little bit taken back. I was a little bit offended by the fact that this guy who didn't know anything about me decided to tell me, "Look, you're doing the wrong thing here. The way that you're thinking is absolutely wrong, and it's wrong because you shouldn't blame other people for your choices." And I didn't understand that, so I got kind of offended. I'm not sure if that showed on my face, but anyway, that day on the train ride home, I was thinking about what he had said to me. Now his name is Ted. And, so I was thinking about what Ted said to me, and right then it really hit me home. I was thinking about, like, how can this guy say this kind of stuff to me, and, who does he think he is? And then it was like somebody had, switched on a light. It suddenly hit me that right then and there, I was actually playing the victim again. Like, oh, how dare people step all over me? I quickly realized that that's not what he was doing. And once I realized what he had told me, like really what he had told me, it really changed my outlook. So I'm going to give you the same piece of advice that was given to me. Never blame anybody else for your choices and where you are today. It is absolutely up to you to change your standing in life. So if you want something better, if you want more than what you have right now, it's up to you to figure out what it is that you want to do and go and pursue that. Whether you need more training, go and do that. Whether you need to go to college, go and do that. But always drive towards that thing that you really want to do. Because if you don't, you're going to end up getting stuck. You will work a dead-end job that you will absolutely hate. It's going to tear you down from the inside, and that is one of the worst things that could happen to you. Okay, so remember, look, you want to be a superstar? It starts and ends with you. It is your choices that are going to lead you to the places you actually want to be. So that is that piece of advice that I was talking to you at the beginning about. I want to try and, not harp on too much about some of the other things that I probably could do that about, but we'll try and touch on quite a few other things in the coming podcasts. And look, honestly, I hope that you guys have enjoyed listening to this. I hope that some of this advice has helped or will help you, because at the end of the day, that's what I really want to do with this. So, until next time, I just want to thank you again for listening. Please, leave a really cool rating if you think that this information was worthwhile listening to. Give me a little bit of feedback about what you think the first show was like, and I hope you enjoyed it. And, I will catch you next time. So until then, adios.